Hello, everyone. We are Meet the Shoe, Shackle History Unleashed, and we have the lovely Amanda Nicole. She has 16 years of experience in television, small, short story. I mean, she does it all. She's the director, creative producer, editor. How many more hats do you have, girl? But
Okay.
I want you to tell everybody, how did you get to be a director? What led you to this? Did you specialize and go to college for it, or was it just a passion you had and just ran with it?
Wow. So I went to film school. That's the very short of it. But the longer of it is I actually wanted to go to school for theater, funny enough. But in trying to figure out how I was going to actually get a job in the creative world, because there's not really too many creative people around that like sort of guide you in that way.
Right.
I went to film school because you can be on camera if you want to. I also had an interest in architecture, and I was like, I could do film sets if I wanted to. So film is like a big generic thing that I can figure it out. In film school, I started going post production with specifically editing. So I wanted to be an editor. That was how I started. And literally 7 days after I graduated college, I moved to New York. And
Where did you graduate from college from? Might not ask.
I know that's really important. I went to Columbia College in Chicago.
Okay.
Born and raised in Chicago and college in Chicago. Hadn't really been outside of Chicago for more than a week at that point in my entire life. And then I moved to New York, Brooklyn specifically.
Oh, wow.
And to me, Bedside was like the closest thing to Chicago that I could get. And I was so comfortable there. Oh, man, I love Bedside.
Really?
And stayed in Brooklyn the entire time I was in New York.
Okay.
And so I started off at an editorial company. About a year later, I moved over to visual effects. Eventually, I ended up in audio post. Was there for like 7 years, 8 years.
Wow.
Went freelance for a couple years. Pandemic hit, and I was like, you start to reevaluate things in the pandemic, right?
Yes.
I went to film school, but I'm in New York and I'm producing, but I'm producing like posts for commercials. I'm not really doing any film things per se. Like I'll help people on films here and there, but it was never really something that I was doing. So I decided during the pandemic, like, just do it. Like, when else are you going to do this? You went to film school to make films. You went to film school to be a creator. So create. And so that's what I started focusing on doing. And the switch from being sort of editor to post producer to director, editors I feel like make the best directors. The writing process doesn't just end at the script level. The writing process continues when you're in production. The writing process continues when you're in post-production. The writing process isn't over until you have picture lock, final cut, and the director is the person that is overseeing all of those things. And being an editor, you see all of those things. And it just made sense to me that a director who has an eye for all of the things could coincide and just be best friends with like an editor. Like those things just go hand in hand. You have to see the whole board. And so last year I made my directorial debut. I directed a short film and I directed a show off Broadway. And here I am.
So take us back. What is the timeline? Like a person that is wanting to get into the film industry or is good at writing, what is the timeline in the steps that you took, like going from Chicago to Brooklyn, and now you are where are you now?
I am actually in Los Angeles. So I literally just moved to LA last August. And so we're like March now. Hasn't even been a year yet. So graduated in 2007. And then 15 years go by. And I was in New York the whole time. And then now I'm in LA. So in a way, I feel like this is like a second career blooming because I'm like focusing more on film specifically versus my entire time in New York, was like mainly advertising, but like learning everything post, which is still very invaluable to making films in general. It's the same process. You're just creating different content.
Right. So you went grew up in Chicago, took a leap of faith, went to Brooklyn,
Yeah,
felt home in Brooklyn, so you stayed there 15 years,
15 years.
and then now you're in LA. So you've lived on each coast, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Down south. You gotta
I know. I guess I gotta get down south. Like,
right. But
listen.
you've done a lot though, and it's just inspiring just to hear you talk about the different steps in every part of making a film or making a play or making, any kind of production that you need all of that, the writers, the editors, the directors, and all of that. And just by you, okay, another thing as well. How did you financially make it? That's a lot of the people's problem when they are scared to follow their dreams. They're always worried about the money.
Yeah.
Can you explain, like from, I'm sure pretty tough times to greater times, how a person can just leap into it by not allowing money to block their vision?
Mm. Well, I am not gonna lie and tell you that it was easy. It wasn't. Like I think about what I made when I first moved to New York versus the ups and downs of how much I was making to even like now. Like I'm comfortable right now, but at the same time, like, changes from the East Coast to the West Coast, I still gotta find my tribe out here.
Right.
Um, and it's hard. There is zero sugarcoating here because I feel like people get caught up in the if you follow your dreams, everything will come. It will. It absolutely will, because more often than not, people don't take that leap. But I truly believe, and this has been my experience, that when you take the leap into the hard things, it will work out. That doesn't mean that there aren't any tough times. So to be a creative, but also to be a creative and still eat and still pay bills and all those things, you got to find something like a job. You got to find a side job. And whatever time you have left at home or whatever, that's when you work on your craft, unless you can figure out how to make that your main thing. And for me, even though I wasn't working on films directly, I was still working in an adjacent industry because I was still getting my creative juices on. But at the same time, you could get lost in there real quick, real quick. It's so easy to be caught up in the paycheck and you forget why. Like toward the end of my time in New York, I almost forgot why I moved to New York. And I had to stop and reevaluate and be like, wait a minute, I went to film school. I got my job, and it was such a rocky couple starts. And I'm not even gonna be honest, like New York wasn't that kind to me at all. But I survived because I'm a fighter. That's what I do. But I still made it. I still made my contacts. I still had my jobs, but it's hard. You just gotta believe in it more than you are in your current situation, and that's real. If you want to be an artist and you believe in it that much, even when you're down and out, and you still want to create, then you're gonna keep going.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's true.
What was the like? Because in Chicago, you guys have trains. So what would you say the trains from Chicago versus New York?
Oh
How
God.
was that adjustment? Because I know you were like, oh, this is not like home. Because
Oh,
I've been on the
It's,
train in
it's
Chicago
different.
and I've been on the train in New York, and oh my God, it's
yeah.
a major.
So, well, okay. The trains in New York are wider. I feel very claustrophobic getting on the L now in Chicago. I do every single time because I'll fly in O'Hare, I'll get on the blue line, and I'm like, it's really tight in here.
Right.
Oh, wow.
It's really tight in here.
Yeah.
But like in New York, I'm also just so used to doing all the things that it's nothing. Like, you know, the homeless person in the corner, yeah, let him rock. Yes, that's his
Yep.
home now. It's cool.
Right.
You're used to the element. Like it's so, yeah, I just navigate myself differently
Yeah.
in each city too, just in general. So when I'm on the train in Chicago, like more often than not, I'm going to the South Side. And so
Yeah.
I have like my South Side like face on. I'm like
Right.
on it. But in New York, it's a different type of face. It's not as hard.
Right.
Oh, really?
No, it's not. It's, to be honest, I feel safer in New York.
Everyone that I know that moved from Chicago, they said the L system is safer than Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
There's police everywhere in New York.
Yes.
Like
Yes, it is.
everywhere.
No.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
and you always have police officers like randomly patrolling either like, you know, the platform or like on the train. So there's always police everywhere. It's not, at least it hasn't been in my experience. I haven't really been on the train too much the last couple of years there, but I haven't seen too many cops on the L in Chicago.
Mhm.
Right.
So what
Not
would
really.
what would be the financial part of someone wanting to get in the film industry, and they what things that you can remember like early on starting that you can make money in? Like if someone wants to come in and they are just, you know, green to everything, it's like, oh, you could do such and such and make such and such, you know? What would they do?
Let's see. So knowing exactly what you want to do is key. So if you say someone comes in and they know exactly what they want to do, then all right, cool. Try to get some sort of entry level job in an office of that thing. Like say they want to be a screenwriter, like, you know, join screenwriting group. I'm not a screenwriter. I can't even say that. Let me not even use the my experience.
But they could do that though.
But they can. So if someone wanted to be an editor, I started off as a runner, which is like a glorified intern. You know, you're getting the coffees, you're doing all these things, but in between all the admin stuff and all like the little gopher stuff that people hate to do and they make you do, you build relationships with these assistant editors. You build relationships with the editors. You build relationships with producers. Relationship building is your most important asset in this business.
Oh, yeah.
Period. There's a lot of work that's out there that you and I see every single day that we're just like, how did that get a green light? Like we're all seen it regardless on what it is at any given point in time, but it's the relationship. It's not necessarily your talent. Work on your talent every day though, because at that moment where someone gives you, oh, I see you've been working here hard. What you got? You need to be prepared. Be prepared at any given instance. So, you know, start at the entry level, work your way up. Be pushy, but not too pushy. Because like, who are you?
Right.
But be confident. Walk into a room and know that you are that.
Okay.
Because people can see that on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to be in people's face, but make sure that people see your work. Make sure that, you know, you are building those relationships, because it's not really what people say to you and like in front of your face. It's what people say to you when they're in other rooms with important people. You know, I've gotten many a job for people who have been said, oh, Amanda's like really dope at this. You should, you know, get her.
Right. Okay.
I know you were saying that when you first started at the media company that you worked for all those years, you went to different sections of the business. You did different positions within that company. You think that was a good idea for you? Because I know some people would just rather stay in one position and learn that position and stay there.
You know, I was told to my face, and there's no diss for the person that told me, because I actually respect this person so much, but I was told that I was doing too much zigzagging for where I'm trying to go. And to be fair, she was not wrong at all. But at the same time, I wouldn't be where I am without those experiences. I think for most people, finding what they want and sticking to that thing is the move. For me, I don't really classify myself as just a director or just a producer or just an editor. Like I consider myself an artist. So
Mm-hmm.
in that case, I'm going to go wherever I feel creatively inspired to go. I
Mhm.
know that seems a little bit flighty, but I also have my main thing. I'm a filmmaker.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's perfect.
That's
That's a perfect
right.
way to think
Have
of
you
it.
ever been in a situation where, like you said, someone critiqued you and you respect them? So have you ever been in a situation where someone critiqued you and they were so wrong and they had to come back and,
Eat
give
humble
you
pie.
your flowers? I'm gonna say it in the lighter way, right? But
Yes.
you might have felt inside like, yeah, but be humble.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a black woman. So that's number one. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
um, so there have been several instances where people have critiqued me, and and for the most part, because generally I don't really cause waves. So I take it on the chin. I know when to speak up for myself versus not, but more often than not, when those situations happen, yeah, there's always like, yeah, this happened and, like, you were right, or, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Like, it shows in how people come at you later and ask for your input for things. So yeah, that situation has absolutely happened.
Okay.
And
You
also,
ever had to lose yourself in this situation? Have you ever like lost it where you was like, oh man, I hope I don't get fired, or I hope they don't, like have you ever we call that a shoe moment. Have you ever been like, I'm gonna mess around and go to jail if she say this again?
oh, yeah,
I'm
toward
gonna
the end,
tell her, one of those kind of
I'm gonna slap
because
her.
it's acting and it's film and I know it is a lot of um conflict when it comes to creativity, right?
yeah,
And when someone is passionate and you're passionate, we can tell, you're passionate
Mm-hmm.
about what you're trying to lay out, and then somebody else might come across your idea and I've been in situations too sometimes to where a person will see your creativity and they'll try to force theirs on you, but what you're doing is working.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
What you're doing has already been approved, but
yeah,
they'll try to come over and like X out what you done or take what you
Right.
already said and take it. I could just feel that you've been through that because,
yes,
like I said, it's acting, it's film industry. I
yeah.
know it's just as hard as probably worse than the music industry. So
Oh my
Oh
god.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, artists, right? Am
right,
I right?
right.
Artists, yeah. I mean, I'm an artist too, so yeah. No, I don't condone people talking down on others. Like, I am nice to a fault, which I
Okay.
have been breaking out of very much so, because I it's one thing being a producer, getting stuff done, whatever. Being a director, you have so many people that are relying on your final voice that you just have to be confident in what you're doing. So when you get that person that's pushing back, I only got but so many times before I tell you what's up.
Mm-hmm.
But I have in that regard, I haven't had to come out of myself.
Okay.
This was the incident that I'm thinking of is more so like at the end of like my last full-time job
Okay.
before I went freelance, because I had been there for so long, and I'm like, listen, I did my job. You're
Mm.
not going to come in here and reprimand me in front of other producers when I did nothing wrong. Like, you're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
you come at me crazy, I'm going to come back at you crazy. We could have settled this privately, but you didn't want to.
Right.
Right. Oh wow. So that's right. That's a good one. You got him good.
I
Okay.
mean,
Being a woman in this field,
Mm,
I know it's not too many women directors. Probably in the last probably 15, 10 years, women directors have been flourishing coming out, but it's not
mm.
still not a lot of black producers or directors. What struggles did you go through to get to where you at?
Well, right now I feel like I'm still early in my I'm doing film career, so I'm in that struggle mode right now.
Okay.
And it's more so just because I am still new to just focusing on film, but also because I'm in a new city where I don't know that many people. So part of
Mhm.
that, like I said before, relationship building and doing that. But I have been watching in the footsteps, like Viola Davis, like Gina Prince Bythewood, like the Woman King. Like if I don't know if anyone's like ever really watched any of like the interviews with either of them on getting that made. I feel like that's like such an accurate representation of the film industry right now for Black women. And
Mhm.
it's, because there aren't a lot of us as directors, there aren't a lot of us as head producers, or even there's only but so many, lead female actresses. So trying to get something made or funded that is helmed by people that look like us
Mhm.
is just gonna be difficult as it is. Like maybe now it might be a little bit easier because the Woman King came out and did so well.
Right.
Mhm.
I know it's still not going to be that easy.
Right. It's gonna take more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying, it's kind of hard to get funding, especially being a Black woman. It's
Yes.
kind of double work.
And
Yes.
is it a lot of fundraising, crowdfunding? Is that the one that they do?
There's a lot of crowdfunding. I haven't done a lot of crowdfunding as of late. Like, luckily, my production company were able to get funds together for the off Broadway show and for the film. But, like, that was amongst us. So, we're not trying to spend any more of our money
Right.
trying to do this. So, trying to find people who know others with deep pockets or know people who are looking for, stuff that we are creating. Like
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
that's the challenge,
Okay.
finding those people, finding the gatekeepers, is
Right.
Mhm.
really like what it is.
What are you guys like? What would be a good script for a person to if a person had to produce something to you? What would you take?
Hmm, that is a good question. So I am always in the business of making very human stories, regardless of genre, because I love all genres. Like, my first directed film is an action movie.
Okay.
What? Like you're like, what? Huh?
What's the name of that? What was the name of it?
So the name of the short film is called "Till Death Do Us Part."
Oh yeah.
And
Wallace.
where can it be found?
So it's not out yet. It's going to be released this summer, TBD right now. But we're trying to do some streaming. We're trying to get on all of your local streaming services, so everyone, regardless on what you have, can check it out. So
Right.
yeah,
What's
this.
your struggles with that, with streaming service versus, I guess cable, the regular cable?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, for this particular film, it's a short film, so it's hard to get that anywhere in general. So because it's a short, more often than not, we're just gonna self distribute, which is great for us because we get to keep most of the revenue, which is
Right.
important. But finding distribution is probably the most difficult part until you find that one person that knows all the people with
Right.
distribution.
Okay.
So, if you're trying to make a film, find someone even before you make the film who has distribution. Like there is never a wrong time, in my opinion, to find that.
Mm.
Because once everything is done, you can just boom, put it
Right.
out there.
Okay. And you're and okay, so you knock down action. What would be the next? What's
Drama.
your heart right
Drama.
now? Drama. Okay.
Drama. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm packaging a feature already called Year in the Life. I'm actually writing a feature right now. Um, yes, and both are drama. So I'm very excited for both of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give us a little sauce of what it is.
Of what? Till
Of the
death.
storyline? No, of the storyline of the drama one.
Oh man.
Is it kind of a little love twist or murder?
Oh no, this is a story about a young man in his senior year of high school. This is like it's called A Year in the Life. So it's his senior year of high school, and he's a young man living in Little Rock, Arkansas in the mid-90s. So it's a period piece, which sounds crazy because we're not that old.
Right.
And he basically is trying to get out so he can follow his dreams because if a lot of people don't know this, like Little Rock, Arkansas was like the murder capital of this country in the
It
mid
was.
90s.
Sure was.
And so it's all of the things that this young man had to go through in his senior year of high school trying to get out and be an artist.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that's going to be nice.
Yes.
So when you talk about short film, regular film, what are the different films and the time? How can I say? How much time is a short film versus a regular movie film? You know what I mean?
For me, like personal preference, like our short film is like 23 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But like if in certain festivals they give you different sort of timelines, but I think anything over 40 minutes is considered. But 40 minutes is just so long to me. I'm like 40 minutes. That is a feature. Like
Right.
an hour.
How long does it take to do that though? Because I heard that even like with sizzle reels, right? The
Mm-hmm.
sizzle reels is 7 minutes, right? Usually they're 7 minutes. So that's just a big old story round.
Yeah.
But it seems really long.
Yeah, it does.
When you sit and watch it, it seems like 20, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But when you're doing the film, you're doing a short film, how long will it take for you to get the best
That
23 minutes, you say?
Yes.
So for my film, we spent 4 days filming, literally like last February. And just because of the budget that I had, which was not, I take into account people's schedules. But if I didn't have to take into account people's schedules and trying to stagger that time, I easily could have gotten this film finished by the end of summer last year.
Okay.
Easily. But this is also like me knowing it as an editor. Like I purposely didn't edit the film, even though I could have, because I was just way too close to it. I co-wrote it, and I directed it and produced it. Like I didn't want to edit it too. But like I think my editor did a really great job. He didn't take that long on it. It really was just like the tweaks, and then I had original composition music made. Shout out to my composer Nat. It was awesome, and it just all the little things. Like most people would just get stock music. Nope, my own original music. Color grade. Like the post production process takes a whole.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it seemed like you filmed so much, but just to have just 24 minutes. But 24 minutes is a long time. That's pretty much long. Because I've seen that the movies usually that like Woman King, that movie was too long.
It was so long.
Yeah, because the attention span that we're finding out by us producing our podcast, we've been doing this now. We can't even keep track. We thought 2018, but I just found old footage of us from 2015. Just us sitting on the couch. I haven't even showed Sade yet. Right? But she's gonna crack up. I mean, we have it though on our old cameras.
Oh yeah.
So this is just raw meet the shoe. You know what I'm saying? Just bouncing back and forth with each other. You know what I'm saying? 2015.
That's dope.
Yeah, and this before podcast was even popping. This is just me and her just vibing and talking.
Right.
Y'all are creators. Y'all
and we're finding out that when you're by us, producing our shows on a weekly basis, we do our own editing, all of that, that the attention span of people now is getting shorter. You notice how TikTok even went down to, you can do 10 second. They got the 10 second, 30 second, 60 second, right?
Yeah.
Now YouTube is doing that, and they're even making it separate from your actual channel.
Yes,
Oh,
they are.
Shorts are separate. And so they want to pay you faster because they're competing with TikTok. So all it takes is for somebody to come in
yeah.
with something else creative and just take over. You know?
Okay.
It's like, when does that pop? You know, like, when does the short videos like stop being a thing? Because I mean, I do miss a good 90-minute movie.
Right.
When's the last 90-minute movie?
Short is your what you've been doing is a sizzle reel.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
For us for podcasting, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for you a short your sizzle reels are fine. Because I'm gonna watch a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
it. The trailer.
The trailer's gonna pull me in.
Pull you in.
So
You be like,
the
damn.
trailer could be 10 minutes. I'm gonna watch the whole 10 minutes. I'm not gonna take my eyes off of it because the little flashing and the action and the whatever, or that suspense or that that's gonna get me to really, you know.
And then you want more. Then you want more of it.
Yes.
Exactly. Then I want the 90 minutes.
Yes.
So for us, we try to, you know, say something, you know, drama, whatever, you know, something real quick, and then, you know, come and watch the full episode, you know.
Oh, yeah.
That's how we're learning. So it's just us through all the money that we've spent. I ain't gonna say we've actually wasted any money. We've been really good. Sade is good at that. I'll be the one to be like, let's try it all, try it, go broke trying everything, right? The one be like,
I'll be like, hold up, wait a minute.
I ain't signed up for that one. I can't do.
I'll be like, slow down, Jim Shoe.
Right.
Look, I was talking to Amanda earlier, and we talking about I'm trying to, you know, get my book out. Like you keep on telling me, get your book.
Yes.
So I said, yeah, because when I write this book, I would want it to be on Oprah's book club. And I said, feel my pain through my pages.
Yes.
That's right.
When I became a rapper, and I said, I'm a poet, didn't even know it.
Yeah.
He died laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't
feel my pain through my pages.
Yes. That's right. Keep on writing. You'll come up with some more stuff.
Okay, okay. I was telling her you're a two-time author, and I'm like, I ain't bust out one yet.
Thank you. It's gonna vibe off of you. Don't you know? I've been telling her to rush it, but don't rush it because it's gotta you gotta feel like you said. We gotta feel your pain through your pages. So.
Yes, and it's gonna come when it's gonna come.
Right.
Yeah, it will. It will.
Which is why it's taken me forever to write this script.
What do you have a time? Do they put you on a time limit, or you just put yourself on one?
I tried to put myself on one, but I can't put self-inflicted deadlines on myself.
Right.
Drive you crazy.
I'm great at a lot of things, but my own deadlines is an ongoing work in progress. Like if I were to complete the deadline that I initially set for myself, it would have been done in October.
Okay.
It's March.
Right. Well.
So, but I'm a third of the way through it.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
Okay.
That's a lot. A third.
Yes. And I'm shooting for 90 minutes.
Okay. Yes.
Now, this is will you take on a job directing someone else's story?
I would if it spoke to me. Only if it spoke to me, because the amount of time that you're spending on a project, whether it be a short or a feature or whatever, you're going to be spending a lot of time with that. And with all of that, just like how actors have to get into the heads of their characters, like I feel like as a director, you need to also get into the heads of those characters, because you need to be a judge on whether or not they're making the right decisions when they're acting out. And looking for ways to make it more realistic. Like one of the things that I like to do as a director is just, I like to look for small, like non-important things that make a person human. Like we're all sitting here and we're like acting and doing a thing. Like if one of you all had a tick, I'd be like, yeah, do that. I like that. It's just it's something like like random.
Right. That's not
Something
not
like,
normal. Right.
yeah, like because otherwise we would just be like three people, like how we are now, just three people just sitting here talking and like whatever. But things that make people human, just in the film, I had, our lead actor Wallace Demarie. He's like his line is like $2 million. Like that's a thing that he says. But I was like, I want you to say it while you're eating this because you're eating this bowl of cereal. But like, I want you to say it with like a bunch of cereal in your mouth. Like it's just so nonchalant.
Right.
It just because like little things like that just show you where the character is in their head and like little things,
Right.
Right.
Oh wow.
How do you pull that out of the people though? To get it right how you want it, like how you're visualizing it, and then you want them to say it. And I know sometimes that gets frustrating because sometimes they still won't click the way you're feeling it, right?
Yeah. I mean, part of it is making sure that the actor sees things like on your level, like how you see it. And sometimes they want to try things, and I'm like, that sounds all right. Yeah, try it. Sure, whatever. That's cool. I actually don't mind it when actors want to try things because sometimes it might be better than what I had in mind. I'm not, super egotistical enough to admit that. Like, creating a film is a group project. Yeah, I'm the helm of it, but I'm still open to other people's input.
Now, question: being that you do all directing, produce, and edit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to the Russ. Remember the Russ movie they were producing with
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Al Baldwin was like a producer on it.
Whoa.
Do you think he should have got charged with manslaughter? I mean, way I see it, it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But other people don't see it like that.
I think that if they are looking to place the blame on someone,
Okay.
I think he was the EP or the producer on this. I don't, because like, here's the thing. If people do things how they're supposed to do, the outcome is one way. If they try to cheat things, it's another way. And what I remember hearing is that they were cutting corners on things because of budgetary whatevers, which means that they didn't have people doing the things that they were supposed to be doing. Anytime you have any weapon on set, you need a safety person there. And every time that the weapon needs to come out of the safe or whatever, there's the person there, there's a safety talk, there's all the things, the safety person demonstrates what you're supposed to do. Like there's a whole process before it even touches the actor's hands. And so if that process didn't happen, to me, I feel like the person who was wrangling, like the weapons wrangler, that person should have been the one who should have gotten in trouble. I don't know why that person didn't, because I don't know all the details. But if they're looking for someone to blame, the producer would be the next person, because that person is in charge of signing off on everything.
Right.
Which doesn't make it right at all. And I know it sucks for him because I think he was producer and he's the one that actually shot the girl.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But it's not like he did that on purpose.
And then he's finishing the movie. Actually, they're gonna continue from what I'm hearing.
That's hard.
It is.
The thing I look at it as just being a creative person, and writing books and a little bit know about the film industry. I think that he did not do it purposely. He was very he broke down immediately when it happened and went crazy. This is all hearsay on the staff, everyone when it happened. So that's just something that was it's sad to say that it was supposed to happen. I don't know why it was or what the lesson was for them. Only they would know because they were the ones that was in, in production as a team. Um it had to been other reckless things going on for it that freak accident to happen to
There
me.
were. There were.
To be, and it had to be, if I'm not mistaken, I heard that things like this had happened before. Not no one getting killed
But
or
like
shot, but the recklessness of it, like
mhm.
blank shots actually, going in walls and the
Oh,
direction of
yeah.
people,
Yeah,
things
I
like
mean, look at Brandon Lee. Like,
Yes.
like he died because of a misfire on, a prop gun, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it's happened on more than just famous people,
Right.
like you said. But I know for this particular shoot, from what I also heard, and again, this is all
All alleged.
All alleged,
I
yeah.
read. I don't really know for sure. This is just stuff that I read.
Right.
We read it here on TMZ. No.
Right.
Just like encounters of people who are working as production on the shoot were like, in terms of cutting costs, like they would not have them stay in hotels in that city, but have them drive to like the cheaper hotel or motel like 30 miles away from set.
Yeah.
Because it was cheaper, and it would take like hours to get there and then hours to get back. And sometimes you have early morning calls. So like they're not getting enough sleep. Film sets are so dangerous. Like people don't even understand. Like there's a reason why you need insurance. There's a reason why you need like electrical and all this stuff. Like they're so dangerous. Like people have gotten, had lights fallen on them. People have been electrocuted. People have like, gotten shot and died. Like
Right.
film sets are dangerous, and there's so
Right.
many things there that people don't understand because it's all like movie lights. Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
We don't think about the back end of everything.
yeah,
Right.
you need to just spend the money and do your due diligence. Like, yes, like, be creative with like what you're cutting back on, but on certain things you just gotta spend the money and just be like even for me, for my shoot, I was like, okay, there's two different like, fight mats that I can get. These are a little thin. They're cheaper. And I can save that money and use it toward somebody gets hurt. That cost outweighs the mats. So
Yeah.
like safety first, always. Always.
Yes, you're right.
So if someone's looking to get in the film industry, they have a great concept, story. It's not all the way there yet, or what would be that? Who do they contact? Who do they send that
Who do they
first script?
That's the question. Who do they like? Who do they admire? Who do they look up to? Those are the people that they should first be following, and then find your way to get in there. I've heard plenty of people slide into some DMs and just say, "Hey, I love your work." Look for programs that major in like not major in what you want to do, but like college, but like that deal with what you want to do, like like artistry things or like programs and stuff like that. Like, but at the same time, if you want to be a filmmaker, everyone has a phone.
Right. That's right.
Everyone has a phone.
Start with that phone, huh?
These phones, they record 4K.
Yeah.
Plus some of them.
Yeah.
You can make there have been like films like Tangerine that have been shot completely on an iPhone that has made film festivals and like have been critically acclaimed. All I'm saying is if your video quality isn't that great, just make sure your post-production's on point. I'm a post-production queen, and if your film sounds terrible, people are going to think it sucks. If it looks terrible, they're going to think it sucks. Get your post-production together, and then whatever it looks like, you could just make it a stylized visual thing.
Yeah. Nice.
But you can't get anywhere if you don't do anything. So baby steps are still steps.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you on what's your social media right now?
So my social media is at Amanda Nicole, like you see right there. And Instagram, like all the things. So that's my
Amanda
Okay.
Okay.
All across the board, all social platforms.
Okay.
Yes. And my Venmo.
Okay,
I know, right?
That's
I
right.
know that's right.
That's right.
Thank you for giving us the talk and telling us about your business, about what you got going on. We appreciate you coming on with us.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we wish you the best.
Yes.
In LA, that you find your tribe. You're going to find that tribe in the next 30 days.
Yes.
At least one member. At least one member. Okay. Somebody to take you through that city and get you that big break.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, get that circle of them big old pockets.
Yes.
Yes.
See that. Thank you.
Yes. So you can come back. Look, come down and put the pressure on us. Now, what'd you say you wrote?
Right.
No, because I will. Don't make me come back and be like, so where's this book? Because
that's right.
Because I will hold you accountable.
Yes, I know.
Hold me accountable, please. Please.
I will.
Thank you.
Right.